Okay. So recording has been started. Cool. So wait a second. So okay. So guys, you remember हमने कि whatever we studied in the last class? Could someone
Yes,
please?
ma'am.
Okay, yeah. So it's Harshda only, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So besides Harshda, because she gave me summary in almost every class. So could someone else please provide a brief summary of all the points that we've covered in last class, please? Yes, Anushka.
Acceleration.
Okay. First Anushka and then Misbah, you will continue. Okay, Anushka, start हो जाओ बेटा. Okay, Shikha. ठीक है. So first Misbah, then Shikha. Is that okay? Okay, you can't unmute yourself, Anushka. That's okay. ठीक है. So Misbah, please start.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in last class we studied constant acceleration,
Okay,
velocity.
cool. Let me write these points. She said we have studied about constant acceleration and velocity. Okay,
Two types of velocity,
okay,
average and instantaneous.
cool. Anything else you want to add?
You also told the concept of differentiation.
Wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, please continue now. Who said about differentiation? Who mentioned about differentiation?
Ma'am, I said.
Okay. ठीक है. Shikha, please continue.
Ma'am, we studied the equations of motion.
Okay. Differentiation. From now onwards, we always do this. Okay. I want a recap of the last class, and I will mention the names of students. Okay, who will help me to write all the key points. And then Shikha said equation of motion. Very good. That's cool. Take care. In today's class, we will discuss about projectile motion. Okay. Projectile motion is our topic for today's lecture. It's a very nice concept, and it will help you to understand how two dimensions are independent of each other. How can we study the dynamics of one dimension and then the dynamics of the another dimension, and that too independently. There is no interference of first let's say x axis in the y axis. Like see, here I have x axis and this one is the y axis. So whatever the motion is going in y direction, I can deal it without involving x. Okay, and vice versa. So independency of two dimensions is all we are going to study in today's lecture. Let's start then. Before starting it, let me continue with two or three basic discussion about basic mathematics. I don't know how many of you go through those lectures in Bitly sheet. Can anyone? Can you guys give me hand raise, or so that I have a count? Okay, Mishba did. Yes, she discussed it with me. Shikha did. How many of you go through that Bitly sheet and those basic mathematics lectures that I have recommended you in the last class? Only two students. Three. Okay, Harshda also did that. See, guys, it's a genuine request. Please follow what I'm saying, because in the end, if the result deviate now, then I'm not going to take the responsibility because you are not following what I'm asking you to do. Okay? So please follow the instructions. Otherwise, these things would convert into backlog, and that is something very suffocating to deal with. So please do not push your syllabus into that direction. So for time being, I'm going to give you a few points which I really want you guys have in your mind while discussing these topics. I think I've started my lecture when it comes to units and dimension with this discussion. What are physical quantities? Physical quantity is something that we can measure, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I said that there are of two types, scalar and vector. Can you give me a solid differentiation in between these two things? What is a scalar quantity and what is a vector quantity? Please. Yes, Ms. Bag.
Ma'am, scalar quantity does not follow vector rule.
Very nice. That is something ki I really want कि आप लोग बोलो. Otherwise, students used to answer कि scalar is magnitude वाला, vector contains magnitude and direction. But we know the basic difference in between these two things, scalar and vector, is that scalar quantities do not follow the vector rule of addition. A vector addition. ठीक है? While vectors do follow. That is the very basic difference in between these two things. That's cool. And when it comes to vector, there's one more interesting fact about it, and that is multiplication. Wait a second. Can you give me an insight about vector multiplication? Anyone?
Ma'am, can you repeat your question?
Can you tell me more about the vector multiplication? How many types of vector multiplication are there? If I'm being more precise, that what is a scalar product, what is vector product, that kind of things.
Ma'am, can I?
Yes, Misbah, please go ahead.
Ma'am, the cross product of two vectors on multiplication result in the third vector that's perpendicular to the two original vectors.
Okay. Okay. Very good, Misbah. See, vector multiplication, I hope I have written it in, I have written the right spelling, otherwise you can avoid it. Wait a second, I don't know, it is not. Okay. So vector multiplication is of two types. One is called scalar product or dot product. Okay. Scalar product or dot product. And the other one is
Vector product or cross product?
very nice. Vector product or cross product. Right? Whenever you opt this scalar product, okay, you will always get a scalar in the result. Okay? And whenever you go through this vector product, you will get vector as your result. It means that dot product of two vectors give me a scalar quantity, whereas vector product of two vectors results into a vector. Okay, and there is this special characteristic with this vector C in the case second, that this vector is perpendicular to both vectors. Okay, it is always perpendicular to both vectors. Am I okay with this? Oh, sorry. Are
Yes,
you
ma'am.
okay? You got it right. Yeah, cool. ठीक है. One more thing which I want to add here, that let's say this is the vector A, okay, and this is our vector B. I gave you that the angle in between these two vectors is theta. I want to calculate the effect of B in the direction of A. Please mark my words. I want to calculate the effect of vector B, and this is the important one, in the direction, okay, of A. So what would I do? I will calculate the projection of B in the direction of A, which is going to be B cos theta. Right? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Take care. And if I want to calculate its projection perpendicular to vector A, then it will go as B sin theta. So this also plays a very important role, because A dot B is nothing but AB cos theta. And here A cross B is nothing but AB sin theta. Since it's a vector, so you need to add a unit vector over here. Unit vector, I guess, that's why I ask you to study those basic mathematics wala videos, because now it will take time if I'm going to explain unit vector. So the least that I can do is I can give you the definition of this thing. As you go, as you understand by the name, unit means one, right? So a vector whose magnitude is one, and it is used to give the direction of some vector. For an example, let's say I said ki, let's talk about this y-axis, x-axis, and let's say z-axis. Okay. So in mathematics or in physics, we have designed few vectors, and they are quite certain. Like for x, in x direction, the unit vector is I cap. So I cap is assigned to x axis. Okay. J cap is assigned to y axis, and k cap is assigned to z axis. You will never change this. I cap will always be a unit vector in x axis, and similarly the other two vectors also for y and z. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The another thing which I want you to have the idea about, and that is resolution of a vector. I really want to draw a straight line, but you know, nice coordination, I would say. Take it. So for example, this is a vector again, and this is B vector here. Okay. I told you that the angle in between these two vectors is theta. Now, how can you resolve this vector? See, resolution of vector is nothing but getting the components of a vector. So we will consider the Cartesian coordinate as the standard one. You know what is Cartesian coordinate? This thing. X-axis, y-axis, x prime, and y prime. Okay, this system is the Cartesian coordinate. So let's draw this vector B in this Cartesian coordinate. It would be something like this, making some angle theta with the x-axis. So basically, resolution of a vector means that I can give this B vector something I cap plus something j cap. Usually we go with two dimensions only. Okay. So here it would be B cos theta I cap and B sin theta j cap. But if I gave you something like this, ki ye wala angle, resolve this B vector as per the alpha. So you will write B sin alpha I cap plus B cos alpha j cap. This would be B vector. Is it okay?
Ma'am, can you repeat the concept?
Okay. I said key resolution of vector is nothing but getting the components of a vector. And whenever I'm saying key calculate the components of a vector, so always go with the Cartesian coordinate. It means I want you to write that vector in the form of I cap and j cap. Okay, that is a very basic concept, whether basic thing connected with this topic. So I want you to get the vector b resolved into the components, right? So what would you do? You will draw b vector in a Cartesian coordinate system, and you try to calculate what is the effect of vector b in the x-axis and in y-axis. So I got b cos theta in the x direction and b sin theta in the y direction, and that's how I get b cos theta I cap plus b sin theta j cap. Now I said ki whatever what if I give you the angle from y-axis, that is alpha over here. So you will resolve the vector into that scenario. So when I ask you to resolve vector b as per the alpha angle, then you will get b cos alpha in y direction, na? So you will write j cap with b cos alpha. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Cool.
ma'am.
Now let's come to the topic, which is projectile motion. Mhm. Projectile. Okay. So projectile motion is basically motion under gravity. Okay. Projectile means that if a stone or a ball that I have, I throw this at some angle. Okay. An angle with the horizontal direction. Okay. I throw this ball at some angle, making angle, and that is alpha with the horizontal direction. So again, see here it is, let's say ki I throw it with u velocity, making some angle alpha. So you will get u cos alpha in x direction and u sin alpha in the y direction. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This ball will go through this trajectory, right? It will follow a parabolic path like this, and this. Is it okay? Yes, Misbah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Misbah, do you want to ask something, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Anji, please.
Ma'am, why we are using alpha?
See, alpha is a variable. If you are comfortable with theta, we can go with theta also. That is not a concern. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. It's completely fine. So, do you get this thing? That if you throw some object at an angle with horizontal, then it follows this kind of trajectory. This trajectory has a specific name called parabolic curve. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
I want to draw your attention towards few important things over here. One is, first is the horizontal distance that this stone covered from this initial point to this final position. And this r is nothing but the range. Okay. So range is the horizontal distance. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we have this point. This is the maximum height which is which has achieved by this wall, by this projectile. This is the maximum height. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And besides it, the third component which I am very concerned about is the time. Time from time it take to travel from initial point to this final point. Okay. So I am very I really want to calculate this time of the journey also, and we have a specific name for this, and that is time of flight. Okay. So we will talk about three things: time of flight, maximum height, and the range. Is that fine?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One thing that I want you to make a note, that always use Cartesian coordinate system to assign the direction. For an example, in this case, we all know that Earth always attracts everybody to its center, right? Every object get attracted by Earth towards its center, which means key acceleration due to gravity will always be in the negative y. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I said this is your Cartesian system. X-axis, y-axis, x prime, and y prime. Earth always attract every object towards its center. It means the attraction is always in this direction, which means in negative y. So you will always write acceleration as minus g. Okay. And if I said ki this object is going, let's say from I position to A position in the upward direction, then that displacement would be like this in the positive y-axis. But from A to F, it is going towards negative y. So it would be negative, right? If I throw something and I am considering this as origin, okay, and if I throw something in the left direction, then it would be negative. And if I'm throwing something in the right direction, then it would be positive. So whenever there vectors are involved, so always go with the Cartesian coordinate to calculate the direction. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes to solve this problem. Okay, I gave you the initial velocity, which is u. I gave you the angle of projection, that is theta. I gave you h max and range. I mean, r for range, h max for maximum height, and everything. So use equation of motion and try to calculate the time of flight, range, and height maximum. I'm going to help you a little bit more. See, divide. Wait a second. Divide this motion into two directions, into two dimensions. Just wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. So I'm asking you to divide this motion into two dimensions. It means you are supposed to deal x-axis separately and y-axis separately. So for x-axis, initial velocity is u cos theta. There is no acceleration in the direction in x-axis, and the displacement that ball covered in the direction of in this direction is r. Is that okay? When it
Yes,
comes
ma'am.
when it comes to y-axis, the initial velocity is u cos theta, sorry, u sin theta, and the acceleration is negative of g. The max, see one point. In y-axis, there is zero displacement because this ball started from this position and it ended over here. So in y-axis, there is no displacement in the entire journey. But I am, more happy. I would be more happy to deal the y-axis from initial point to a point. And the reason is, from initial to A, ball raises to its maximum height. And I hope you remember this thing: whenever a ball or body achieved the maximum height, it means that it cannot go further that position, right? In the y direction, which means the final velocity in y direction here is zero. Is that okay? So this
Yes,
is another thing for you. Wait a second. You will write initial velocity is zero, and it is initial point to A point. Okay. And the displacement is h max, again from initial point to A point. One more thing which is very important in this situation is that whatever the time this ball take to reach from initial point to A point, it would be same as it take from A to F. So we will say this is T1 and this is T2, and I'm saying T1 is equals to T2 and the total time, which is time of flight, it would be t1 plus t2. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay. Now your time is going to start. Just solve this expression. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ जी बेटा, हो गया क्या सबका?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, Shikha. Gayatri, are you there in the class, Vicha?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you getting this?
Ma'am, I can't get the answer.
Okay, but you got the concept. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's cool. Think I'll help you. Uh, Girja, beta, have you got the concept? It's Girija, right? Jennifer, hmm? Aditya, Irfan, Kiran, Mantasha, Namrata, Om, Rehan. Okay, Mantasha got it. Rehan, Sanjay, and Zia. Hmm? See, Bacho, if okay, Namrata is not getting it. Please ask the questions now if you are not getting it. Is it practically possible that I will always take your names individually and I'll ask you? See, if I'm going to do that, then we only have 1 hour, right? We will waste a huge portion of it now. So please ask the questions, ask the query while I'm discussing it. Now let's start and solve this. Okay, I'm going to explain it once more. Try to understand it in this time. Okay, I'm saying projectile motion is a two-dimensional motion which is under the gravity. Okay, this motion takes place under the influence of the gravity. So if you throw a ball at some angle, then it will raise also, and it will move in horizontal direction also, right? It will go in forward direction as well as it moves in the upward direction. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So basically, we got the idea that we have two dimensions to deal with. And I am telling you this thing from the starting of this lecture, that y-axis will not interfere in the discussion of x-axis, and x-axis will also not do the same. Okay, so whatever the variable, whatever the dynamic is going in x-axis, that will not get interfere or disturbed by the y-axis. Okay, so now what we do, we analyze this motion and divide our studies into two axes. See, in x-axis the initial velocity is u cos theta na, and there is no acceleration at all in the x direction. Yes, Namrata?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Namrata, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. But in y-axis, you will always feel the acceleration due to gravity. It means the force by the earth, and it always attracts every object towards its center. That's why I write acceleration is equals to negative of g in y-axis. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Then I told you that whatever the time it takes to achieve the maximum height, the same amount of time is required to reach the final position. That's why I tell you that by T1 is the equals to T2 and the total time is T1 plus T2. Is that okay?
The time of ascent is equals to the time of descent.
Exactly. That is the time of flight. Cool. Time of ascent is equals to time of descent, and the sum of these two times is the time of flight. Okay. Equations of motion is something that we have discussed in the last class. And since this acceleration is constant, so I'm eligible to use those equations in this scenario. Now let's use it. So let's deal with y-axis first and calculate the t from this data. Now tell me one thing, time is something which is same for x and y-axis both, because this object travels in x direction as well as in y direction in the same amount of time. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Namrata?
Yes,
Gayatri?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chaliye phir. So let's start with the calculation of time. I guess we can use first equation of motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First equation of motion is v is equals to u plus at. So here v is 0, u is u sine theta, a is
Minus G.
exactly minus g, and this is t. Okay, so you will get u sine theta is equals to gt1, and t1 would be u sine theta by g. This is the same time as t2. So if I want to calculate the total time, I have to do 2t1, which is 2u sine theta divided by g, and hence you get the time of flight. Is that okay? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
That's okay. That's cool. Now let's discuss. Discuss what? Use this time that you got from y-axis to calculate range. See, I think it's a constant velocity wala motion na. So you can go like this: s is equals to ut. S is range. This is u cos theta. Put that value 2u sine theta by g over here. See, you will get range, which is 2u square cos theta multiplied by sine theta divided by g. I hope you get the identity out of it. That is 2 cos theta sine theta, right? This is sine 2 theta. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So range would become u square sine twice of theta divided by g. This is the maximum displacement in x-axis. Now we can use, now we can calculate, I think, h max also. H max would be s is equals to ut plus half at square. Sorry. Since we have the privilege of final velocity is 0, we can use that. And we should use third equation. V square minus u square by 2a is equals to s. So h max would be, what? क्या होगा?
U square sin square theta upon 2G.
Yes, 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 yes. You will write minus u square sine square theta divided by minus 2g. Why I'm using minus? Because acceleration is in negative y. So we will eliminate minus, and okay, I'm going to write it over here. Maximum height would become u square sine square theta by 2g. Now, is it okay? Um, can you get the expressions from your own? Okay. See, since we are dealing with a MCQ based paper, so literally it is not my concern that you got this derivation or not. I gave you this derivation so that you can calculate this, if you forget the expressions. So you know that it is very basic to calculate. But it is highly recommendable that please remember these expressions, these three expressions: time of flight, maximum height, and range. You are supposed to learn them, okay?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. There's one more thing which we should discuss, and that is equation of trajectory. Trajectory is basically the path which this projectile follows. Equation of trajectory. The nature of our trajectory is parabola. Okay. So let's go through that derivation. So not the derivation, just the expression. Y is equals to x then theta 1 minus x by r. Okay, where y and x, this is a journal point on the curve, yeah, on the trajectory. Okay, theta is the angle of projection, and you already know what is r. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. So I guess we should do some questions, and there is a stone which is thrown with some velocity, and let's say it is 5 meter per second. Okay, at some angle of 37 degree with the horizontal. Okay, with the horizontal. Now the question is very simple. Find T, H, and R. Is that okay? Do I need to write the expression of T, H, and R, or it is something that you can calculate by yourself?
We can calculate, ma'am.
You guys can answer me around 6:31. Okay. Okay, so I guess Misbah got the answer. Someone else? Is there someone else? Okay, Misbah, beta, go ahead.
Time is 0.6 second, height 0.45, and range 2.4 meter.
Okay, so you got with decimals also. Yes, Harshita.
Ma'am, same answers which she told.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so let's start with the solution. Hmm. See, if I go through the formulas, I guess T is what? T is equals to 2u sine theta by g, right? And the h is your u square by 2g multiplied by sine square theta. And we have range, which is u square by g sine 2 theta. Is that okay? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the theta is 37 degree here, and we don't know how to calculate twice of it. So what we will do, we will break sine 2 theta into 2 sine theta cos theta, because by magic triangle, I have the value of sine 37 degree and cos 37 degree. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. It's 3 by 5.
Yes, that's very good. So let's do the question. I will put the values only. You guys are supposed to solve it. Okay? And just cross check your answers with Misva and Harshada. So here we have this magic triangle, and this would be a 37 degree wala angle. This is 3, this is 4, this is 5. From here, you can have the value of sine 37, which is p by h, which means 3 by 5. And then you can calculate cos 37, which is b by h, which is 4 by 5. Okay. Now just put the values over here. 2 into initial velocity is 5, sine 37 is 3 by 5, and it is multiplied by 2, right? Sorry, by 10. Here G is 10. For your privilege, always take G as 10 until unless someone is asking about 9.8 very rigidly, right? Only then go for this. So you can just solve it. 5 say 5 cancel, 2 say 5 cancel, it is 3 by 5, and yes, it is 0.6 second.
0.
Now let's, yes, now let's come with the H max. H max is your u square by 2g. Sorry, I think, yeah, 5 square by 2 into 10 and multiplied by sine squared theta, which is 3 by 5 into 3 by 5, right? Wait a second. So 5 is going to eliminate this 5 square, and that's it. It's 339 divided by 2 into 10. So 9 by 2 is 4.5. This is 10. It would become 0.45.
0.45.
Yes. Now let's go with the range. So range is u square, which is 5 square divided by 10, and it would become 2 sine theta, which is 3 by 5, then cos theta, which is 4 by 5. Again, 5 square will get eliminate out. This would become, we will not cut it now. It will help us to solve the question. This is 2 3s 6, 6 4 24. Yes, it is 2.4 meter, right? Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I'm going to give you, हाँ, कोई पूछ रहा है कुछ? But is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one more question. Please solve it within the time. Just wait a minute. Let me write it. Better please try to solve this question within the given time. Okay, I will ask your answers in the end, right? I mean by 1839. Okay, let me explain the question once. We have this ball and we projected it with the initial speed of 5 meter per second, and the angle of projection is 37 degree over here. You are supposed to calculate the final velocity. And if I'm mentioning velocity, so please remember that velocity is a vector quantity. You need to answer me in I cap and j cap. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So do we have some answers? Anji?
Ma'am, not got the question.
Oh, so you asked me in the in when I gave it. See, I asked you to find the final velocity when this object will hit the ground. Okay, I have launched. Okay, this question has launched the projectile with 5 meter per second, making some angle 37 degree. So calculate it. What is the velocity when it is hitting the ground? Okay, take care. I will do it. See, it will follow this kind of trajectory now. Now the velocity
Yes,
at this
ma'am.
point. I want to know this velocity. Okay, this would be final velocity now. This is your initial velocity, and whatever the velocity is going to be, that would be a final one. So just try to calculate it. Okay. So since there is no force in the x-axis, so whatever the velocity you will have in this direction is going to be the same one. 5 cos 37 degree. It is also here 5 cos 37 degree. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now the thing is, we have 5 sine 37 degree over here. But it kept changing now, because we have wait a minute, we have acceleration due to gravity. We have that
Yes,
gravitational
ma'am.
force which makes it zero at this highest point and will give you the exact same value. Okay, whatever the value you have here, 5 sine 37 degree, it will give you the same value but in the opposite direction. So if I want you to calculate the final velocity vector, it would become 5 cos 37 degree I cap, okay, and minus 5 sine 37 degree j cap. Matlab, you can put the value of cos 37 and sine 37. Yes. Okay, there's some message. Huh? So do you get this concept? Always remember it. Key with whatever the velocity you gave it initially, you will get the exact same value over here, but in this way. Is that okay?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. There is one more question for you, and it is quite interesting, right? I really like this question. So the question is, find the height of tower. find the height of tower. Now I have this tower. Do not laugh on the tower, please. Okay, this is the tower. And from here, I throw a ball and making some angle 30° with the horizontal and with the velocity 30 meter per second. Okay. I want you to calculate this this is small h. And one thing that you have here is when this ball, uh, okay, I need to give it a parabolic trajectory. So this, mhm, wait a second. This is 30 meter per second. Okay. It will touch the ground like this now. And this is 25.9 meter. Okay. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Find out the height of tower. It is 1842 right now.
Ma'am, what is the
Now,
angle?
yeah, it is 30°. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Beta, have you got the answers? Yes, Harshita?
Ma'am, 11.25 meter.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Anyone else? But that's cool, Harshita. You at least try. Anyone else?
I will
हाँ जी
notice
शिखा. क्या बेटा?
45 meter.
Okay, it's not the answer, but again, I appreciate that you guys try the question. Now it's my chance to solve it. Okay.
Ma'am,
See, I
17 meters.
no, beta, no. See, but that's cool that you guys are trying. See, I always say ki divide this motion into two dimensions, right? X-axis and y-axis. So I guess this time you have some initial velocity in x-axis, which is which is 30 cos 30°, right? It means
Yes.
30 into root 3 by 2, which is 15 root 3 meter per second. And similarly, you have some initial velocity in y-axis as well. And it is your 30 cos 60°, which is 15 meter per second. Is that okay? There is no acceleration in x-axis and there is negative acceleration in y-axis. Okay? Right?
Ma'am, not understood.
See, in x-axis, there is no acceleration now. There is no force in x-axis. So there would be no acceleration. But in y-axis, there is always earth. Right?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. The question already gave you the S or the R of y-axis, and that is 25.9 meter. Right? Right. Huh?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Wait, this is range now. And
Yes,
the
ma'am.
displacement in y-axis would be h. Wait, this is the initial point and this is your final point. So this is the displacement. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So calculate first the time from x-axis, which is s is equals to ut plus half at square. S is 25.9, u is your 15 root 3, and t, a is going to be 0 here. So root 3 is 1.79 now, 1.73 something, right? So it is 25.9 divided by 15 into 1.73. Can someone please calculate this for me? Huh? Can someone calculate this for me, please?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Ma'am, it's coming 0.9980.
Okay. So 15 into 1.73 is what?
25.95.
So it's 25.9 now. So we can calculate it as 1 second. Right? 25.9 divided by 25.9. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now use the same expression for y-axis. Here the displacement is h. Initial velocity is 15. This is 1 minus half into 10. Again 1 ka square. It is 15 and it is minus ka 5. Right? But there's one more thing. This initial velocity is negative y-axis now. So it is going to be minus. Right? And you will get minus 20 meter. Again, I am asking just the height of the tower, which can never be negative. Right? So it is 20 meter. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess this is it for today's lecture. And what? In the
Ma'am,
next
I
lecture,
directly put the values in the formula of H maximum.
okay. Koi nahi. In next class, we will deal with relative velocity of one dimension and two dimension. Okay. So this is it. Thank you. And again, जो बच्चों ने sorry, if you guys don't go through that basic mathematics wala video, please do that. See, first use this bit.ly link. Okay. Go in class 11th tab and then basic mathematics, and there you will get 6 lectures, I guess. Okay. Go through those lectures, at least integration, differentiation, and vector wala. Vector is very important for you. I'm repeating it. But before using this bit.ly sheet, now kindly download Google Sheets, only this app from Play Store. Okay, it will help you, to execute this, to explore the sheet very in a very nice format. So please do this, and that is it. ठीक है बस. Tada, bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Bye,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Welcome.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye bye.